Okay, so in this video, I'm going to explain Clintonian triangulation. Uh, just in general, just to give some context, this concept was inspired by a shroom trip that I had, where it was the trip where I internalized that yin and yang was an objective truth of reality. So it's based off of something that I saw. So I guess you can take it with a grain of salt. So you have two lines that converge here, and it forms a triangle. So this line represents one point of view of consciousness. So we all have different points of view of the world. So this would be a yin point of view, and this would be a yang point of view. And certain people can be on one point of view or the other, or somewhere in the between. This would be the gray area. So this would be yin, yang, and this, let's just say this is the biggest triangle that there is. So what that means is that this point that would be objective truth. So the line would become straight, because this line means that yes, there's logic that is going to, when you pull this thread of logic, it will reach truth, but then it will go away from truth. And this thread will reach truth, but it will go away from truth. So the compromise is what allows it to go straight. And this is objective truth. Whatever. Objective truth. So I'll draw this line. So yin yang, so that's the spectrum of belief. So let's say this is like left-wing politics, right-wing politics. This would be like the middle. So let's say we all have, like, all of us, we're all like little triangles. We're all little triangles here. So many of us throughout all consciousness, all people represent this big triangle, but we are made up of little triangles. So if this person debates this person and they compromise, they'll form a bigger triangle. And this compromise will be this line here. And so, it'll be this line. The point is actually not here. It's over here. So this point over here is closer to objective truth than here. So if this triangle, let's say, okay, this person, so these two people agreed that these things are true, but this is not necessarily the full truth. So the compromise isn't necessarily objective truth, but say this person over here debates these two people's compromise, then that will be closer to, so the compromise that this person would do with this would go over here, and this is closer to objective truth than here. And this is kind of how it works. Like for example, 2 + 2 = 4. Like, if everyone believes that 2 + 2 = 4, then they all would meet at this point, because it all encompasses this huge triangle. So the huge triangle represents what is universally true. The smaller triangle represents something that may be true from this person's perspective, or like a subjective truth or an objective truth that this person thinks, but it's not necessarily the full picture. So they have to combine their objective truths with the other people to create the bigger triangles, and then that creates this. That over time, that will lead to objective truth. And the key point is the compromise. So Not always is like say this triangle over here will be very radical yang. This one would be very radical yin. If they make the triangle, that's going to be very hard to find the compromise between the two. But if they do, they will most likely find a compromise that is closer to objective truth than, let's say, if these two people were trying to find a compromise between each other. And I would argue that this is why debate is important. Social media, like for example, these are like social media bubbles. Social media is going to create all these bubbles, right? And they're all gonna. It's all like so like the person that is creating the bubble, this is blowing the bubble. So that's the person that, let's say that's like a YouTube content creator, and they are creating this bubble, and all the people inside are trapped in this bubble because that's called the echo chamber. So how do you get all these people? Like, if you don't do anything about this bubble is going to go to war with this bubble. Like, it's just eventually it's going to happen. It not necessarily like a full on civil war, but like just war mentally. Like, they're just going to see this as the other. This is the other tribe. So how do you prevent this? So you combine the bubbles. So how do you combine the bubbles? Through debate. And this is how you get that compromise. That compromise, the way that you get the compromise is through here. So hopefully this explains Clintonian triangulation. Yeah, and I think it will save the world.